I am here with Sidney, the Executive Director of the Salvation Army, Syracuse Area Services. Sid, do you know what we're doing today?
Nobody
No one
does that anymore. Nobody
Yeah.
does that. That's me. What is the meaning of life?
Well, what we're going to do today is we are actually going to play some Jenga. On the X ones are questions. The other ones don't matter. We can only pull from the X ones. Are you good at Jenga?
Well, so my background is I'm a marriage and family therapist.
Okay.
And this is a common way to work with kids in therapy is to play some Jenga with questions. So we call it emotional Jenga. Yes, that I'm curious as to how your questions compare to my typical questions, but yes.
They might be a little different.
Yes.
We'll
I can play Jenga.
This interview is either going to be an hour long or 10 minutes long, depending on how well we play. Pick whichever one you want, doesn't matter. Read the question, answer it to the best of your ability, and then I'll do the same, and we'll just keep going back and forth.
I see you.
Start this off. Put us in a good spot here.
Steady hands. You know, of course I'm doing something that...
Whoa.
Where is a place you would love to travel? Ooh, good question. So I have a thing for mountains. And so when my oldest son, who's 7 years old now, was born, I said to my husband, you know, when our kids are old enough to remember traveling, I'd like to hit all the major mountain ranges in the United States with them. I'm a skier. My kids are getting increasingly competent, 7 and 4. So they think they're incredible skiers. But they're getting there. And my husband's a snowmobiler. So we would have to be there for quite a while to do it all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. That's exciting. All right, I want to go for this easy one. You already put this one out here.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more nerve-wracking when you have cameras on you here.
Well, when you're kind of shaky already.
Yeah, right? Okay. What has been a big obstacle in your life, and how did you overcome it? Big obstacle in my life, I would say, kind of applying it to 325, I always consider myself a stupid filmmaker at heart. Like, I just want to make videos, and now I put myself in a position where I manage a team and have to, like, make things happen, and I'm kind of like responsible for their job and their career. So that's been a big obstacle for me to learn, that I actually have to grow up and stop being a stupid filmmaker. And that's been very tough. How have I overcome it? Still learning, but trying, kind of stepping up to the plate, I guess, a little bit. That's how I overcome it. Just stumble my way through it.
And you care, you know, about the people you're responsible for.
I guess.
You know, you wouldn't feel the responsibility of it. Jenga is hard.
There's a couple rows in there that I did feel like were a little looser than others. Oh boy. That might not.
Do you want this to keep going and me to pick another? Because I'm like a no cheater kind of person. That I would make somebody else lose.
I feel like I need to like help you out. When I just go for it, go for it. Because we don't want to end too early. This might be my one assistant.
See how tight it is?
Yeah, that's not a good one.
Look.
This better be a really good question.
What have you learned during your professional career? Like how to be a person? So as I said, I started my career as a marriage and family therapist. And so I almost feel like I've been at the Army for 17 years, and I feel like I've gone through all these life cycle changes in my career, and specifically with the Salvation Army, which is really cool, you know, that I'm like that old school person from, you know, generations ago that works at one organization their whole life. Like nobody does that anymore. Nobody does that. That's me. But I think the first chapter of my life was about doing family therapy with kids and families. And I learned a tremendous amount from people in that role, in that job. And a lot of it was just these hugely devastating stories that kind of come down to relationships are everything. That, you know, that's the one thing that people regret is like the people they missed, the time with their kids, the time with their parents, the person they disappointed, the hurt that happened in relationships. And so I learned to take people's humanity, people's hearts very, very seriously, and to prioritize people over tasks like 100% of the time. And it's really hard to do.
Yeah.
That I often say that as we're all 10 minutes late to wherever we're trying to go, trying to run out the door in my crazy family, I say, we have plenty of time.
Yeah.
We do not have plenty of time. Let me tell you, we do not have plenty of time. But like the wholeness of everybody as they walk out the door is way more important than being 10 minutes late, right?
Love that.
And so I think in my career, then I, move up and become a supervisor, and then move up and become a director, and now moving up and becoming an executive director. The biggest lesson for me is just no deadline, no accomplishment, no accolade is ever going to be more important than the person sitting in front of you, or the person who's not sitting in front of you because you didn't have time for them.
Yeah.
And so that's my big learning.
That was great.
Yeah.
All right, see if I can find an easier one than you. That one. That was a tough question.
Well, you might need an assist.
And a tough, here,
Yeah, I was
see.
going to say, find the loose
Well, a
one.
little shaky here. Let's see. Oh, all right. I'll go for this one. Okay. All right. Favorite way to unwind after a long day? I'm a Netflix and chill kind of guy. I go home and so I live in Rochester actually.
Oh, do you?
So
My brother lives there.
Is that right? So when I come here and go home, it's like an hour and 40-minute drive at this point. So I never thought driving was exhausting, but now in my old age of 40 here, like if I drive more than an hour, I'm like, I need to take a nap. So when I go home, I'm just like, I just need to sit on my couch and I watch I watch Hulu more specifically, and I watch old episodes of The Amazing Race.
I think my life could use some kind of non-dramatic TV, not real drama. Ooh, what is the meaning of life?
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
Easy question.
Yeah. Okay. Back to what my favorite show is now. I'm probably still trying to figure this out. I think, for me, how I think about my values and how I think about the bigger abstract conceptual stuff is kind of scaffolded, right? So the meaning of life for me would build off of what I said about people and relationships, that I think the meaning of life is, to some degree, being in connected, fulfilling relationship with other people. It's people helping people, people loving people, and, having a life of immersive experience that you shouldn't just be doing all the time. You should be feeling and sensing and living. That it might be difficult to articulate a one sentence meaning of life, but I could tell you moments where I felt the meaning of life. And that's crystal clear for me, real crispy, that in this moment, and those moments are all about the people and the relationships and the significance of something that happened not in a silo, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's what I feel like I am probably always going to chase and want to create in my life and for those around me, if that makes sense.
That was a pretty good answer. I'll take it. All right. See if I can get an easy one. Wow, that was an easy one. All right. What qualities do you look for when building a team?
It's not an easy one.
It isn't easy. So, but the long answer here is that when I first hired, I was just excited for people that actually want to work with me. Oh, I have this thing and you want to work with me and you trust me? Okay, cool. You're here. As long as you can put a sentence together, I'll take you, right? So that's how I kind of first started. But as I've been doing this for 15 years now, I've kind of saw some qualities, and At first, like, it's a film production company, so I was like, we need to hire the best filmmakers in the world. But sometimes that comes with personality traits that don't necessarily make sense for a successful team, right? Because we are a team, you have to work together. The last couple of years, we've really been hiring for people that have that team all in together. We're going to make this happen together. Nice. Like, it's such a weird thing to say, but like hiring for people that are just nice is like, one of the main components, just the basics, like showing up on time, being nice, being cordial, like being okay with going the extra mile for people. And those are the qualities that I go for the most. And then hopefully, they become that amazing filmmaker, but I want them to grow here and keep growing versus like if they come here and they're already the best and they have nowhere else to go, they're going to get tired real quick. So yeah, that's what I look for.
I like it. That's what I look for too. Okay, let's see. So I'm going to take
Getting a little dicey here.
A little closer to the top. How do we grow and become better? Mostly by falling on our faces. I do think a lot of growth happens through mistakes that, and through sort of the courage to be the fool that, I think that's what I had going for me early in my career, honestly, was that I was the person who was willing to, advocate for a family that nobody else believed in, that I was willing to be foolish for something that I perceived in the moment was the greater good. And I learned a lot that way. I think that's a form of risk taking, which is a big part of how I think people learn. But I think it's like, parenting in a way, that it's this balance of risk taking and stability that have to come together. So I've grown, and the people around me who have grown, I've seen grown with both, like push and then come back, push and then come back to a secure base where there's safety, somebody loves you, somebody cares about you, that there's, a homecoming in a way, but you gotta take risks and you gotta mess up, and have the humility to go, okay, like that's all part of it. I'm not giving up.
100% agree with that one. All right, I want to make it a little bit more challenging. All right. Okay. How do you keep your team motivated? All right.
You're getting a lot of team ones.
I see this.
So
as my team is filming me here. How do I keep my team motivated? Yeah, it's a fine line. Like, I am the kind of person that wants to challenge people, that wants to see them grow. Like, I'm a big advocate of, like, if you're the same person you are today that you were 5 years ago, you're kind of doing it wrong. So you need to learn, grow, and adapt and evolve to a fault, right? Because I can do that to myself, and so I try to do that to others. But, a lot of times people just want to show up and do their job and, kind of just like that. But they also do want to get pushed and grow. So how do you juggle that? So to me, it's a fine line of keeping people like, okay, you got to this level, but what's next? And how do we get there, but slowly be able to do that? And just learning, we are super busy right now. We actually had this conversation last week at our meeting, but like, we're super busy, but there does need to be a time where we can all stop and do a little bit of learning. And like, how do you grow and how do you better? Because we are all here to be better filmmakers. So to keep pushing them and challenging them, sometimes it's hard, but yeah, I think it does need to keep going. And then the last thing about that is need to do a better job at complimenting people. We talk in this thing called Slack. Whenever a client is like, oh, great video, or we showed it, or even the Salvation Army, right? You showed it at the Civic. Yeah, and it did well, and it was like, oh, it performed so well, everyone loved it, whatever. So like, we'll take that, we'll take a screenshot of it, we'll put it in Slack, and then everyone would like give it like a lot of high fives and stuff. So I think things like that, because we do all this hard work and we don't necessarily understand the impact that it's making. So to kind of bring that back home and say, this is the impact, like look how great this is, hopefully gives them opportunity to keep motivated to do better the next time.
Yeah, I mean, I highly suggest opening that feedback up to the people who receive your videos, because I know for my staff, and you've done, 4 or 5 videos with not just Salvation Army, but the folks who I have been directly working with and supervising, and the families we serve, that the level of professionalism and just feeling like there's a quality, to the video. In nonprofits, we're used to kind of taking whatever scraps are given to us, or, I was ready to pay my friend's 14-year-old to make a video, because 14-year-olds can make pretty good videos,
I'm
right?
aware, yeah.
On their iPhones, because, we don't have this type of resource. And so to your team, that is something that makes, the people you're doing videos for at the Salvation Army feel like superstars, that we deserve something like that, as opposed to, nothing against the 14-year-old, but this is like a big deal.
Well, I appreciate that a lot. I think the main thing, not to talk about this too much here, but the main difference, and it kind of sounds so silly, is that I do, and it's hard to make this happen, and I think the reason that you're successful too is that you care. And it sounds so silly, like of course you care, but it does come a point where when you're in the mundane of work and this life in general, you kind of start losing that care. And how do you keep that care there so that you're able to bring the best to each video or each person that you serve, right? And so it's really tough. So we always try to, the joke here is that we care more than the client cares about the video. Like we're always just, give me one more day, please, so I can edit this video a little longer, right? And I think that is like our secret sauce a little bit, is that we care about the outcome of the video. And I think it's secret sauce of any successful organization.
Yeah, no, it shows at every step in the process, I would say, not just the final outcome, but even in, the interactions at filming or the planning for filming.
Yeah.
So.
Good. All right. How much do I owe you for that?
Nothing. Compliments are free. What advice would you give to future leaders? I'm big on the really obvious advice. Like slow down.
It's obvious for a reason, right?
Patience, slow down. Often I think because I'm this, old school, one company my whole life kind of gal here, I often think about just like the long game. That for me, I have really never played the short game professionally. In big ways, here and there, but those are a lot of the falling on my face stories. And so when it comes to, I was writing an email yesterday, and I do this probably 100 times a day, but where I could hit send without one piece of information that would require maybe as many as 15 clicks, right? So I open this folder and open this folder and open this folder and get this number. And I was hovering above the send button and just nope, just get the number. Just, be clear, right? Take the time and the focus to slow down and be really clear before you, hit the proverbial send button, whatever that means. And I think that has served me so well in ways that I wouldn't know if I hadn't had the experience sort of doing it both ways. That sometimes in that slowing down, that sort of patience, something new evolves that wouldn't have been there had I hit the send button. And so I think there's just value in playing that long game and slowing down, having the patience to really, focus and look at the details before, taking action. That in my youth, I think I thought that was inaction. And now I see it as focused, intentional action as opposed to reaction.
No, I like that. That's really good. All right. So I can't be the one to lose this because that just will not be exciting. So I need to make sure I get a good one. All right, I'll be a little tricky over here. All right, I'll go for this guy. Oh, just kidding. Oh, man. All right, we're getting there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy. All right. Oh, man. Okay, got a good one. All right. Is that cheating? Is that how? What are the rules here? Like, if you touch it, you have to go for it. I know some people play pretty intense.
I'm pretty sure that went out the window when you held the whole thing for me.
I don't play that way. What challenges does your organization face today, and how are you adapting? Well, kind of built off of what you just said. Our challenge is the 14-year-old with the iPad that can film better than we can. Like, how do we keep up, right? No, I think the biggest challenge is clients and organizations are just going to want more and more content, and they need it to be quicker. Mm-hmm. And so to make there's like this great diagram where it's just like time, quality,
mm-hmm.
And it's just like you can't have both, right? So like either we can do it really quick, but then the quality kind of goes down, or we can have it great, but it takes a lot of time. So how do we make really, really great videos, but also be able to produce those really, really quickly? Because there's plenty of times where our clients say, hey, we need something tomorrow. Like, can we make it happen? Either using old footage or whatever, but this takes time.
Sure.
So that's probably the biggest problem that we are facing is how do we get quicker, but also still maintain our high quality and move forward and still have a reasonable rate that makes it affordable for the client to even want that in the first place. So yeah, time, quality, money, right? And they're all kind of moving away from the center. And as a creative, I think that kind of just kills us individually. But that's probably the biggest thing that we have to figure out.
Yeah. Could we just fix that about the world?
Yeah, right.
Because
everyone wants it quicker, faster, and cheaper, right? That's how it goes.
Yeah, but do we really want that?
That's the good question.
Right? Or does that serve us? That's what right, yeah. It's gonna annoy my kids as they get older. That's my first question is, how does that serve you? And they're like, oh man.
Yeah, we're starting to get down to the last 5, I think. Here.
I know. I want the ones without the X's.
Yeah. That makes it even more tricky.
Yeah.
And no helping. I can't help you this time. You're on your own.
Yeah. I think I tried this one and it was, maybe. Do you see it? I'll just tilt.
I saw that whole row just move here.
Can I use this finger to do this? Okay. Or do you want,
rules are out the window now, but I don't think it's going to be any help.
So, this a demonstration of my another character trait we haven't talked about. Persistence, stubbornness. Is it going? No. All right. That might have been a little.
I think you might have set me up for failure here. Let's see if you can get that on there.
Ooh. What is something you would like to learn? See, that question might have been worth it. I mean, there's little things I'd like to learn. It would be great if I could learn accounting and things like that, but I don't really, those are it would help me be somebody else that there's a need for in addition to myself. That splitting thing. And so what I really want to learn is how to not do that to myself. It kind of goes back to your response a minute ago that I want to learn to make really good decisions about what's enough and to stop wanting to learn things because, the pressure of every market is to pretzel yourself into dust, to be really dramatic, to that's how you die early, is by creating so many versions of yourself to fit every hole that you're not the same person you started as. And so what I want to learn is how to, resource and build relationships with people who can be those people and things that I need to fill those holes, and to not feel like I always have to be them, because I am not an accountant. That the real me would cry at the idea of that. I don't love numbers. I love that we don't have to remember telephone numbers anymore. That's not who I am. And so I think the continuous learning part that's going to be a challenge in my new position is, where and how to say no, and how to keep the belief that saying no doesn't mean that you're disappointing people, that you can still, have a fiscally really sound agency and not have the knowledge level of an accountant. I want to learn things like, maybe other languages, and maybe how to be a little better at math, but mostly I just want to learn how to be wise and stay the course with the stuff that feels true to me, and not, let go of all my boundaries because there's pressure. Pressure is bad.
Pressure is bad. All right. Well, look, I think this thing's on its last leg.
Okay.
I don't want to be the one that breaks it, so I'm going to make you go again.
All right. Well, when you're going to go down, you got to go down in a blaze of glory, right? What is a good one? I'm going to quote my 7-year-old again. And I was going to say, what if I get
Well,
it?
you gotta, do you know which one you pulled there? Or we got to answer one last question here.
I don't know which one I pulled.
All right. Let's see if there's a new one that you haven't answered. We'll do one last one.
You did that one. Let's see. What is something?
Okay, I got this one for you.
Okay. Which one? This one?
Any of those three. Doesn't matter.
What is the best advice you've ever received? So what you're learning about me is the basics, right? That I had a lot of anxiety as a kid, and I remember driving my parents absolutely nuts with what if, and but this, and this could happen. And my dad said to me at one point, and I know he was frustrated when he said this, but for some reason it got through. He said, you're a good person. Just be a good person and stop what ifing everything. And in the moment, I'm sure I continued to like kids do. But I think about that all the time, that when there's a really hard decision and I don't have the foresight to know, that I just think, I'm coming at this decision from my good personhood, right?
Yeah.
And so, it'll be okay. And in that message, I also heard this piece of just be a good person, because you'll deal with whatever. When you're a good person, if it doesn't go well, then you're still there. Being you, taking care, showing up, having responsibility, just do that and it'll be okay. And so to this day, I just kind of traffic. My kids got off the bus and I wasn't there last week because I got stuck in a traffic jam, and nobody's going to abandon them. And, I didn't do this on purpose. It happened, and I'm still a good mom. I'm still a good person. It'll be okay. And I did not fly into a tailspin. They were having fun in the office. Everything was okay.
Yeah.
But I think that just helps me with kind of the intensity of things sometimes, to just bring it back to a level of intensity that is helpful to me, not something that could drown me.
Love it. So to finish this, I have a rapid fire series of questions for you. I asked your team if you had a hobby or favorite thing of some sort, and this is what they gave me. They said that you and your family is kind of a Grateful Dead family?
True story. My parents are deadheads.
Okay. So I have 17 questions.
Oh.
They get harder as they go through here, but we're going to try to get through
This
all
Grateful
of the
Dead
questions.
trivia?
Grateful Dead trivia.
Oh boy. Okay.
All right.
Oh boy. Okay.
We'll see what happens. Okay.
I'm excited.
All right. 2 minutes on the clock here. And here we go. Who was the Grateful Dead's most famous lead guitarist?
Jerry Garcia.
What's the name of the Grateful Dead's fan base?
Deadheads.
Which song has the lyrics, "Truckin', got my chips cashed in"?
Truckin'.
Correct. What year did Jerry Garcia pass away?
1995, I think.
Oh, correct. What's the famous skull and lightning bolt logo called?
Steal Your Face.
Correct. Which U.S. state is associated with the Grateful Dead song Tennessee Jet?
Tennessee.
What type of animal is in the Grateful Dead's famous dancing sign?
Bears.
Which San Francisco neighborhood is famously linked to the band's beginnings?
Palo Alto.
Oh, it says Haight-Ashbury.
Oh,
Set.
they started in Palo Alto,
okay.
but
What's the title of the Grateful Dead's live concert album with the Dancing Bears cover?
I don't think that's Europe 72. I don't know.
History of the Grateful Dead Volume 1, Bear's Choice.
Bears.
Which Grateful Dead member was known for his red hair and beard?
I don't know.
Mickey Hart.
Okay.
In which month, see, I told you they get hard. In which month does the annual Days Between celebration of Jerry Garcia's life occur?
August.
Yeah. What instrument is Jerry Garcia most famous for playing?
Guitar.
What is the name of the Grateful Dead's biggest radio hit?
I don't know.
Touch of Grey.
Gray.
Which song is famous for the line, "She had rings on her fingers and
Scarlet
bells on her
Begonias.
shoes"? Correct. All right, Sid, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having
You made
me.
it through the Jenga. You made it. Jenga, we were the one of those. You made it through the Grateful Dead questions. I think you did pretty good.
Thanks for having me. This was fun.